On this very special episode of Cage Side Seats, the podcast, we're talking what else? WrestleMania Sunday. Oh, and the Raw After WrestleMania, if that was even a thing.
Welcome to Cage Side Seats, the podcast. We don't have a good name, but we do have good opinions. I'm your host, Stella Cheeks, and with me, as always, is Marcus Benjamin.
Hey, people, and hey, Stella, on this very bright and early morning.
Oh, yeah, just for context, it is 7:45 in the morning for me and 8:45 in the morning for Marcus. So if you ever wanted to say anything mean about us, don't do it on this episode.
Also, but then again, this might be the right episode to do it because I don't have the energy to respond to you.
Our last one was just very chaotic, and this one is just like sleepy, cuddly WrestleMania talk. We both have giant sweaters on.
Yep. This is my work sweater. This is my Mr. Rogers sweater of like, oh, yep, it's a nice day. Nobody's bothering me with my job. I'm just gonna do this podcast real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope your bosses don't listen.
No. Of course not. Let's hope not. God, I hope she doesn't now. Oof. Okay, anyway, continue before she does start listening.
Okay, so like the last episode, we're just going to break down match by match WrestleMania Sunday, give our big feels, and then we'll talk about Raw, and then we'll go get out of here. I'm going to drink some more coffee, presumably. All right, so before we jump into it, overall thoughts of WrestleMania Sunday and WrestleMania 38 as a whole. Would you say that it was stupendous?
I would say it's stupendous because I actually wrote it was stupendous, so I have to stick to my words. It was stupendous. While night 2 didn't deliver the way night 1 did for me, just for a variety of reasons. I don't think there was a match the caliber of Bianca and Becky on night 2.
I think Bianca and Becky was the strongest match of the entire weekend. Hands down. That is absolutely agree.
And not only and obviously that's a high bar. So not only was there not a match of that caliber, I don't believe there was a match close to that on night 2. Like even within shouting distance or throwing distance or whatever kind of distance metaphor you want to use, it just wasn't there. That said, night 2 did compensate by being extremely entertaining.
Right, and night 2 for me didn't have a match that brought it down like Charlotte and Ronda.
Yes,
so while night 1 had the best match of the entire weekend, it also had the worst match of the entire weekend.
Yes, night 2. So night 2 was more of a consistent ebb.
Yeah,
it was just a consistent. This is the level we're going to play at. Cool. Edge and AJ tried to take it up a little bit, and then everyone was just like, yeah, but that's not what this is. And then, and it leveled out, and even Brock and Roman in the end was just very. It wasn't the wrestling match, like it was a Clash of the Titans kind of thing. Like these dudes were just throwing bombs the entire time, and that's not. Again, that's not what Becky and Bianca was. That's not even what Edge and AJ were. So it was just night 2. If I can make a movie analogy, night 1 was the sort of Oscar nominated crowd pleaser movie, like something Spielberg would do back in the day. Night 2. Okay, so night 1 was
Jackass
that.
Forever.
Yes, and night 2 was Jackass Forever. Still a solid film, still a dope film, but not. It's we're not gonna give it any plaudits for that. It's just like, oh man, this is the popcorn movie I want to see. This is great.
Yeah, I would agree with you in like the intellectual part of my brain, but as like a viewer, night 2 was more fun to watch. It never got to the emotional high where I like jumped out of my seat and started crying like with the Bianca match. Like I still think about that and I want to cry because I'm like such a wiener. But night 2 was more consistent and was more fun. And I have people over during like pay-per-views and stuff. And definitely the vibe in the room was more like fun on Sunday.
I mean, when you have Mark Henry's son showing up to smack Sami Zayn, how could it not be fun? When you have Wee Man power slamming Wee Man.
We'll get to it because that Marcus, it deserves all of our time and attention. So let's just jump into the match breakdown so that we can give the best comedy match of all time its due.
Yes.
Okay, so WrestleMania Sunday opened with a 2-hour pre-show with nothing on it. Once again,
still don't understand that logic, but okay, here we are. Fine.
That felt just like a big slap in the face to like people who do like our jobs. That was like, oh, you dum-dums have to watch this 2-hour? Ha ha ha, we hate you.
and it's made worse. See, and so you just reminded me of the biggest sin of night 2, which we will get to. That sin could have been corrected if it was on this pre-show.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah.
But the actual show opens with RK Bro defending their titles against the Street Profits and Alpha Academy in a triple threat for the Raw tag match.
As I figured, no, it wasn't the match of the night like I thought it was going to be. It was the match of the night. It was not the match of the weekend.
Nothing is going to be the match for the night over Sami Zayn. I'm sorry, but you can have your opinion. I'm going to let you finish.
I will take this one. Thank you, Kanye. Thank you. And it ruled.
It was really good.
It ruled. Like it was incredible, and I love the anything you can do, I can do better kind of thing between Montez and Chad Gable.
Yeah.
Where Montez is like, I can jump over a turnbuckle
and land on my feet.
And land on my feet. And whereas Chad Gable was like, well, I can do a moonsault. And hit everyone too. Like it was just it was chaotic. It was fun. It was smooth. No one got hurt, thankfully, because
especially for like a chaotic tag match, it was smooth.
Yeah, and like I said, no one got hurt. Apparently, no NXT people were in the ring with Randy Orton because he didn't get hurt. And
there was a ton of NXT people in the ring.
Well, maybe
he was only in the ring with NXT people.
You're right. That's a good point. Where's Randy? Anyway, good. We'll get to that. I'll worry about Randy's opinion later. But just. It was great. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Besides the fact that it was 2 days ago, so my brain is kind of like, what? But yeah, it was great. I
was a little
love the Street Profits.
Agreed.
I was disappointed at the ending. Yes, we talked about that.
I was disappointed
in the ending
because we both wanted Street Profits because they rule. But it was still really fun. And I mean, there is an argument to be made, like if you break up or take the titles off of RK Bro, like what do you do with them? And so I do get it.
Right. Yeah.
Because and RK Bro is like they are consistently delivering not only good matches but good segments and are one of the like only consistently watchable things on Raw. So I get not wanting to take it off of them right now, but then that does put specifically the Street Profits in a position of like, what do we do with them? Because like before Mania, they were kind of teasing this like heel thing. And then at Mania, they were definitely big baby faces. And then on Raw, they were sort of teasing a heel thing again. So who knows? I just don't know what they're going to do with them right now. I hope whatever they do, it's good because they deserve it. Because Alpha Academy, like, do I want to see them with the titles again eventually? Yeah, of course. Like Chad Gable rules and Otis by default, but they don't need them, right? They're like schmarmy little heels. And especially if they continue with this like Gable versus Gable stuff, like I don't care about Gable Stevenson because I pay attention to the news. But also I don't care about Gable Stevenson because I like professional wrestling.
Right. We had that discussion. We just had that discussion. And that was the other big moment of this match is, the Street Profits teased the heel turn. You and I thought a heel turn was coming at the end. And it turns out, oh no, they really did just want to make peace with RK Bro. Fine. Whatever.
They poured some concoction out of a bedazzled solo cup into regular solo cups and did a little cheers with RK Bro.
And then they said, hey, Gable Stevenson, you're sitting ringside because Triple H dapped you up earlier tonight.
Now, if I was the newest signee to one of the largest companies in the world and was getting all of this screen time before I even lifted a finger in a match, and I was on the grandest stage of them all in the most stupendous 2-night event, personally, I would maybe not wear sweatpants and a dirty t-shirt. But that's
I gotta
just
agree
me.
with that. No, it's me too. Like my first thought was seeing it was like, dude, you can't come better than this. You can't come more correct than this. I mean, like I'm not saying you gotta you got to look like Ezekiel Elliott, who was there, from the Dallas Cowboys. And even then, Ezekiel was just wearing his football jersey and, some pants. That would have been better than this.
I don't watch football. And so you just said Ezekiel, and I immediately was like, well, Ezekiel doesn't show up until Monday.
That's for later. No, so Ezekiel Elliott and Micah Parsons were there, Dallas Cowboys.
Are they the ones on the pre-show?
Yes. So it makes sense.
Which one is Ezekiel Elliott?
Ezekiel's the one with the nose ring, and he was wearing the jersey.
Okay. They were both cute, but he was the cutie. He was the one that I was like doing the dishes, and I was like, should I watch football?
But they're Dallas. You should watch football. But yeah, they're Dallas Cowboys. They're in Dallas Cowboy Stadium. It makes sense to have some Dallas Cowboy representation.
They had the Dallas cheerleaders.
Of course, always. Jerry Jones has to make sure they're there at every event. But it's they looked presentable. They had on, again, even if Ezekiel's just wearing his football jersey and some pants, he looks like he belongs there.
And the jersey was clean. That was like a shirt that didn't fit and was like dirty. It looked like literal like pajamas. Like I just finished an essay and I'm falling asleep in my clothes. That's what it looked like.
His pants didn't even fit. Like the entire thing was just like, dude, get it together. Come on.
They're putting so much time and money into this dude, and he couldn't even show up. And like, I don't know. That made me really mad. I'm already mad about it for several other reasons I don't want to talk about on this podcast. But if you listen, you probably know. So like, whatever. I'll deal with that when we have to talk about him every week.
Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, he showed up. He and then like you alluded to it, him and Chad had a little thing. Him and Chad Gable had a thing, and now that's probably going to be a thing. Eventually, we're going to have the two wrestlers.
And I made a joke about like, oh, they should wrestle for like name ownership, but also like Gable Stevenson went on some kind of podcast and was talking about the name thing, and we know Vince won't let anybody have the same name, and I unfortunately think it's going to be a thing where they rename Chad Gable, an established star who is doing really good stuff, just so that Gable Stevenson can keep his name, which is like dumb.
Are we looking at the return of Shorty G?
Or they just start calling him Professor Chad.
They might just go with
Dr. Chad.
No, he'd actually like that. Dr. Chad, Professor Chad.
Even though he didn't get a PhD, got a master's, but hilarious. Like Dr. Chad would be great. I'm actually kind of okay with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I mean, and it works too. Otis just has one name. We don't know Otis's last name.
Come to our school, Otis and Chad. All right, but it was a fun match. It was like a fun moment, and like opening the show with that match was the right call. The match after that was Bobby Lashley cosplaying as Harley Quinn versus Omos in his singles match. This is a match that we dunked on a lot, and like we're like, why is this happening? Blah, blah, blah. And I still agree with all that stuff, but for what it was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Because Bobby made it work.
Yeah, Bobby Lashley is a dream. Yeah,
like Bobby just made it work. Again, it wasn't my favorite match of the night, but it was by no means the worst.
Yeah.
Again, Bobby just knows what he's doing in that ring, and he made Omos look good.
Right.
Really good. He told a compelling story on his own, basically.
Basically on his own. And I think that that's a thing. I think that this match honestly did such wonders for Bobby Lashley. And like, obviously he's a part of like kind of a face turn now. But like when you look at Bobby Lashley and you look at the career he's had in WWE, especially since his comeback, he has consistently wrestled either wrestlers who are very good and don't need somebody to help them, or big dudes like him, and so he just does big dude moves, which is fine. But this is a match that like almost as big, obviously, but he is not a great wrestler. And Bobby like proved like, no, I can be a wrestler's wrestler too. Like I can tell a story, I can do moves, I can put over a younger talent while like putting myself over. And I think that just did wonders for Bobby Lashley, for people who are dumb and maybe are naysayers, because Bobby Lashley rules. And I'm sad about the MVP turn, because I'll always be sad about the Hurt Business breaking up way too soon, but almost needs a manager in a way that Bobby Lashley doesn't. Because like for a long time, people would be like, Bobby can't talk. And in his first WWE run, that was true. But when he left, and especially when he went to Impact, he was within a stable with MVP, and so he did have him and Kenny King like delivering promos, but I don't know if it was osmosis or if Bobby just got better, but like when he was on Impact near the end, Bobby was on his own cutting promos, going head to head with Drew. Like that was some good stuff on Impact. And so when he got signed with WWE again, I was like, I'm such a huge Bobby Lashley fan. I love this dude. And then obviously when he first came back, it was not great. And they did a bunch of dumb stuff with him.
With his sisters. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing that we could definitely forget. But when people were like, oh, he can't talk, I was like, you guys are wrong. And it was fun to have him with the Hurt Business because that was a great stable and MVP is great. Just because somebody doesn't need a manager doesn't mean they won't benefit from a manager. And that stable definitely, and his title run definitely, I think, proved to people like, no, Bobby Lashley is worth paying attention to. Bobby Lashley actually fucks. He's super good. But now that that's established and if we're not going to reform the Hurt Business, let Bobby Lashley go on his own. Let him be a badass on his own. It works.
Which was the meta of that entire heel turn last night. Like, people, if you don't mind, we're going to do like a crisscross between Raw and all these things.
Barely anything happened on Raw, so.
Yeah. So, when MVP said, hey, Bobby Lashley beat Omos last night without my help, like that was the tell. That MVP was a little in his feelings about that.
Well, when Bobby came out without MVP, the people in my room were like, weird.
So I said the same thing. I was like, well, where's MVP? Okay. And MVP lashed out at him on Monday night saying, oh, you don't need me. You don't need me. Oh, yeah, he was very upset about that. And the actual real life answer to that is no, he does not. Almost does. So, you go where you're needed. And I'm looking forward to this feud, not really because of Bobby and Omos. I'm looking forward to it because of Bobby and MVP.
Yeah.
That obviously is a friendship with a lot of history, and not just within WWE, as you just talked about. And it will be fun to see how MVP uses Omos as his proxy to beat up Bobby, and how Bobby basically wants MVP and just knows he has to go through Omos to get him. And Omos, within kayfabe, is a big, strong, tough dude to get through.
Yeah.
How do you solve that? And how do you solve that by yourself? Because Bobby, I don't see Bobby giving Ced and Shelton a call.
Yeah, I don't think so. This is Bobby's time to shine on his own.
Mm-hmm.
The next match was the second longest match of the night and was also the best match of the night. It was Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn in an anything goes match that was absolutely insane. I mean, if you listen to this podcast, you know that for weeks I've been like, the match I'm most looking forward to is actually Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn because it has one of the most consistent builds outside of Becky and Bianca and Roman and Brock. It is the match with the most consistent build. It is the match that makes the most sense. And boy, did it deliver.
It was fantastic.
I just can't even, it was this whole weekend hit a lot of nostalgia buttons. 80% of the time when WWE does nostalgia stuff, they are like shoving it down your throat and you're like, cool, I actually did grow up and I do not want this. Like, thank you, but no thank you. But this weekend, aside from Maria's weird, like, wet look at the Hall of Fame, was a reminder that some things in the 2000s were great, like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Jackass.
Jackass, and Jackass Forever is fantastic. Everyone should watch that film. But yes, I said in our Slack, I never want to get to a point where seeing someone get kicked in their nuts is not funny to me.
Kicked in their nuts in so many creative ways.
Yes. Oh, it was so, the bowling ball to the nuts, the actual foot machine to the nuts. Sami falling into the table full of mouse traps. Sami getting hit with a gigantic mouse trap. Wee Man.
Wee Mania. He did like a good job too. Like he did some like legitimate wrestling moves, and it was like, oh shit, Wee Man.
Wee Man knows what he's doing in the ring. Sign Wee Man and Paul Logan Paul. I'm sorry, Paul Logan's a different character. Sign Logan Paul up for just get them on the roster, man. Just I want to see this now. Like this is what I.
You don't want Party Boy on the
Bring him too, man. Bring all of them. Just like
it was so fun. Johnny Knoxville's commitment to keeping his stupid goggles on, very funny. All of the like Jackass spots, the giant hand. I think somebody in the room I was in even like was like, haha, are they gonna have the giant hand? And then like 5 seconds later, the giant hand came out. And we all just screamed.
The giant hand, the spot when Sami was on the top rope and the the flame shot out, and he just like again right to his nuts. Oh, it was great.
Johnny having rigged the ring was perfect because like that's most of what Jackass is. It's either like I'm gonna jump off of this dumb thing or somebody has rigged a bunch of stupid shit and I'm gonna walk into it. And it was perfect. And Sami did such a ridiculous good job. Like nobody else in that company could have sold it and done it like Sami. Like that was it was perfect. It was so fun. And then the thing that really elevated it was Michael Cole and Pat McAfee in commentary, because Pat McAfee clearly grew up watching Jackass, he knew all of the lingo and was just having he was commentating on it like a wildlife specialist, like watching a like David Attenborough. Like this is McAfee's planet Earth. He's watching it and being like, yes, here's the historical significance of all of this.
He's like, yeah, and here's Wee Man. Oh, Wee Man, we see the Wee Man. Don't you remember when Wee Man did blah, 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 blah? And Cole's like, yeah, right.
Yeah. And then Michael Cole literally just being like, what the fuck am I watching? I have been in this business for a very long time. What the hell? And his just like giggling and delight, like, honestly, I think the person who had the best time at WrestleMania was Stone Cold, but I think the person who had the second best time at WrestleMania was Michael Cole.
Yeah,
Michael Cole was like,
yeah,
my career has never been so fun.
Yeah, Cole enjoyed himself, and I am usually not a Cole fan, but I was a fan this weekend. He clearly came. He always does his job well. I'm just not a fan, but
I'm a fan of him in this McAfee era. Like I'm a fan of him,
and that's where I was going. Yes, yes.
Their friendship is great,
and that's what makes him a better commentator and makes him easier to deal with for me.
I mean, if you were Michael Cole, consistently good at your job for a really long time, and you had to sit next to like Corey Graves for several years, you probably would be like, whatever, or
JBL.
Yeah.
or Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah, he had to deal with a lot of stuff. And while I love Byron Saxton is like a specific type of like commentator and character. So like Michael Cole consistently was just kind of like, I'm just here to like, I'm the glue that holds this together and makes it passable. But now he gets to just like have fun.
Because the person he's with is a fan first and foremost,
but is also like actually good at his job.
Yes.
It was just fun. It was everything I wanted it to be.
We really could have used a sequel to this on Raw. Just that would have put it, just even if it's not this match, just something like this. Like they need to, obviously you don't pull this tool out of the box for anything except WrestleMania, but I would love if they did like, hey, let's do this at SummerSlam. Let's do this at Survivor Series.
I don't know how they could like top it though, because it's one of those matches that like it just everything came together and it was just like the perfect moment. We didn't know what to expect, so everything was like delightful. You know what I mean? The like what's gonna happen factor. I don't know if you could recreate it, but I agree. It was just fun as hell.
So the next involved.
Absolutely. The next match was the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the WWE Women's Championship with Naomi and Sasha, Carmella and Zelina, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler. So when this match was announced next, I was like, woof, rough spot. How are you going to follow that? And also like, I had hopes for this match because I love women's wrestling, but historically in this division, when there are a lot of women in the ring, it can get kind of like chaotic and messy, but not in a good way. Like sometimes the like rumbles, I mean, I think the men's rumbles are like a lot of times kind of trash too. Like it's just like what it is. There are fun spots, and then it's like messy.
That's all they are. Yeah, that's right? all they are. Yeah.
So I got nervous for this. I was like, oh God, I just hope it's okay. First of all, everybody turned out looks. Like everybody looked really good. If you want to know more about my opinions about gear, you should go to CagesideSocials.com and read about the best and worst gear of WrestleMania. But this match was clean. This match told a good story. Everybody looked good in this match, wrestling wise. By the end of it, the audience was like still really on board with the whole thing. They were excited for Naomi and Sasha. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh wow, this was the right spot to put this in. And they were in a tough position because that match before them was bananas. But because none of them are like real tag teams, so they all have their own music. I think the fact that all of their entrance musics had to play, and then we got moments like witnessing their like either, you know, coming out with the car or coming out in fetish gear or like whatever, like having a moment to like redirect the crowd's energy after a giant mousetrap was in the ring. Actually, the like long entrances and stuff actually served a purpose here. And so by the time the match started, it was like, okay, that was kind of the refresh, and now we can just watch wrestling again. And then the match itself was really good. And then the finish, obviously, I think everybody was excited because it was Sasha's first win at WrestleMania, but also like for me, I was like, oh hell yeah, my girl's got a championship. Like I was very excited. Like I'm always excited when Naomi gets like a shine on her. Like she's one of my favorites. She deserves to have a belt. And that match was good. Like I was just happy. I'm upset that I had such low expectations for this match, but I'm really happy that I was proven wrong.
It was a dope match, and the right team won. They're the best team. Like they are the best team.
Right.
And that was actually the story of one of the stories of that match, is that these two were the best team here, and the rest of you, you're good, but you're not there yet as far as a cohesive unit. Like Sasha and Naomi have history together. These other teams, like you said, were just sort of cobbled together last minute, you know, just like, oh yeah, we're friends now. Sure, I guess. Yeah, let's do a thing. I particularly love the end, you know, the third act, as it were.
Ooh, their new finisher.
Very good. Which is dope as hell. But where it's this long-standing team of Naomi and Sasha versus Carmella and Queen Zelina, and obviously Queen Zelina and Carmella can't get on the same page. Meanwhile, Naomi and Sasha on the same page, everything. Like they just know each other perfectly, and I love more so than the match itself and the finish. Which again, I'm a Sasha fan, so you know, again, if Bianca's my number one favorite wrestler, Sasha's my number two, and seeing her overjoyed after it, like really touched me. And then seeing her talk about the two people that have always had her back in this business, you know, since she came up to the main rosters, Naomi and Tamina. And then seeing Tamina come through. Right, and then Tamina come through and just sort of love them all up. It was just really cool and really touching. And I just, yeah, like when wrestling does that, it just hits me in the heart.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now we go to Monday Night Raw, and they had just kind of like an okay match with Rhea and Liv, and then they were teasing a breakup with Rhea and Liv that they're like on the mend now, but like they're clearly on their way to the breakup. So like that is happening. And then Carmella and Zelina are now broken up.
Yep.
We didn't even see Shayna and Natty.
Nope.
But Sasha comes out and says like, I want to, well, she doesn't, I don't think they cut a promo.
She said in her backstage promo,
yes, right, okay.
like we want to elevate this and make these the most talked about titles in this company.
And we want,
automatically you are dissolving everything.
Exactly. And like that was, I wrote the preview for this match and I was like, look, this match could be really great. I really want Sasha and Naomi to win. But the problem is like the writers don't care about this division. I'll say it again. Like the stakes for this division have always been set really low when the tag team titles were announced in like a weird video package with like Vince dressed like Santa Claus. Like they don't give a shit about these titles. And so like I'm excited that they're with somebody like Sasha who has star power, with Naomi who has had good championship reigns, but like you can't build a division if there are no teams. And like I think it was time to split Zelina and Carmella up. That one makes sense. Would it be cool to see Rhea join the lawyers of destruction? I don't actually remember their name. Something about justice.
It was like, so I watched it back. I don't recall them saying a name.
Yeah, I didn't recall it either. But somebody,
I know like Edge, like Sean gave them a name, and then Edge said something about Damian Priest is going to be
judgment.
his tool of judgment, tool of punishment. I don't know, whatever. I actually wrote it down. And I'm like, whatever you said, I don't remember. But yeah, Rhea joining that would be great.
Yeah,
she fits, especially this whole thing of which is the impetus of this group, and I love this, is Edge is saying, one, he's coming off like a Baptist preacher, which I think is great. But not
He's
like the
even
Bray
got a
Wyatt.
fancy suit.
Exactly. Not like the Bray Wyatt style of Baptist preacher, but more so just the more calm, collected Baptist preacher. And his whole message is, by you trying to appease these fans, these idiotic fans,
To be fair, the
are
Dallas crowd on Monday night was
they said they were
dumb as
idiots.
hell. They
and they said
started
they were.
to like treat Bianca like she was a heel, and I was like, I'm gonna come down to Dallas and slap every single one of you. I'm very happy that you all booed Hulk Hogan, but also get your acts together.
Get it together. Right. The fans are the ones holding you back. They're the ones who are holding you from your true self. And the only way to be your true self and reach your full potential is to say screw them. And he's doing it with people who have this dark side, this dark edge, or who were heels before.
This dark edge.
Dark Edge. Haha. That's what their name should be. Dark Edge.
The Dark Edge.
Dark Edge Inc. or whatever you call Dark Edge and Attorneys or whatever. And it works for Rhea. Like it completely works. And obviously we know, like, I still think the logic of, we lost our championship contender match, but I was able to convince the bosses to give us a championship title match anyway.
In a nutshell.
Yeah, like the logic of that is stupid. But okay, fine. They're doing it to get to the point where these two break up, and hopefully Rhea does go join them, because as we always say, we need more intergender groups, man.
Yeah, we need more mixed stables. Yeah, but just to finish that thought before we go back to Edge, like, I'm excited for Sasha and Naomi, but like, I don't know if the writers and Vince don't start caring about this division, it's not going to matter if you have one of the biggest stars with the belt. Like, it's just not.
Nope, not at all. Agreed.
Okay, so the next match was Edge versus AJ Styles, who was just bleeding from the face. Apparently ran into the set.
Another person Cody Rhodes was very jealous of. Yes.
This was the longest match of the night, and boy, did it feel that way.
And it, like I said in our chat, it was a good match, but it was not the tone of the rest of this event.
Right. It did suck the energy out a little bit, which is like weird, because the entrances, like, first of all, AJ's entrance, everybody was like, why is he bleeding from his face? So people were talking about that. And then Edge's entrance was dope as hell.
Sure was. Off his mountain of omnipotence. Yep.
Yeah. But the thing is with Edge matches, specifically in his like return, they're always like pretty good, but they always go on way too long.
He's doing the Triple H thing now. Yeah, he's doing the Triple H epic thing now, and he doesn't need to do that. No, he doesn't. And again, that was not the tone of night 2. That wasn't even the tone of night 1.
Yeah.
Like this just wasn't. And and he did it 2 years ago with him and Randy, the greatest wrestling match ever. And it's just like, this isn't that,
They need to always consistently at least shave 5 minutes, if not more, off of Edge matches.
Yes, definitely. And at the end, we're not saying I can speak for both of us. We're not saying this was a bad match at all.
No, it wasn't. No, but it had everybody going, this isn't a bad match, but it's just not hitting for me. And if everybody's saying that, then like, that's a problem.
Right. Where everyone can, because wrestling, everything, not just wrestling, everything that we observe, that we take in, is supposed to hit us emotionally. And then we try to understand why is it creating this response? And that's when we get into the logic part of it. If I have to respond to something with logic first, but realize emotionally,
I have to explain the joke. It's not a good joke.
Exactly. If I have to respond with logic first, but I don't have that gut reaction, then whether I think it's objectively quote unquote good or not, that doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
What matters is it didn't work. Like, just clearly it didn't work.
This set, especially because it was going to end in like this dusty finish with like a setup of a new stable. Like, we didn't need 25 minutes for that. No, 15 would have been fine. 15 would have been solid. Everyone would have been like, yeah, AJ Styles, whatever. It will be interesting to have AJ Styles be the like face of this, I guess, this like face feud. I am really curious what the hell they do with AJ Styles right now after all of this, but I'm excited for a new stable, and it's been a while since we've had some good spooky shit. So I'm excited for some good spooky shit.
This is why I said they look like they should just go up against the House of Black. Let's just do it. Let's do it.
Well, Brody King had a really good tweet that was like, when you order the House of Black on Wish.com. I was like, that is ice cold, my friend.
I mean,
he's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I mean, like when it first happened, I was like, oh, so this is just your version of House of Black. Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay,
hopefully with less like poetry. I have a lot of feelings about Malachi.
So Rhea's going to be their Murphy. Okay.
Hey, right, that works. They're both Australian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can see it. And Rhea's brolic, so I'm down. Yeah. I'm down with it. Yeah.
They're both Australian. They're both thirst traps. I get it. I'm fine with it. Mm-hmm. All right. The next match was the shortest match of the weekend, which is ironic because it got cut for time on the first night. Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Butch versus The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Before we talk about this match, when Kofi and Xavier came out in their Big E gear, I was just like, oh no. And I just start crying because I'm like a little bitch. But The New Day are my favorite. That was a really nice touch. But then it was just like a big slap in the face. Did you get
see that too?
Yeah.
And now we're fine. Okay.
Yep. But then it was just like a slap in the face because this match was a minute and 40 seconds long, and then was just like a disgusting squash. And like, I get it. I like Sheamus. I like Butch. Ridge Holland exists. But like, if this was actually what was going to happen on Saturday and this got cut for time, that is insane. And that makes me want to pull every single one of my hairs out individually.
So a couple of things here. Besides, yes, I agree with everything you said, but I'm going to add to that. So we are dedicating the match to Big E, right? Okay. And it's a squash. Okay. Where New Day loses in awful fashion.
After Xavier's triumphant, I'm using quotes because it hasn't been triumphant, after his big return.
Yes. So we're welcoming Xavier back to the big stage. We're dedicating the match to Big E. We are consistently showing Big E getting his neck broken for some stupid reason. We just keep showing that.
So upset by that. Like, I don't want to sound dramatic, but like when that break happened, I was looking at my phone because I was doing my job. Sometimes the bad thing about like tweeting or writing during wrestling is you do miss stuff because you are doing stuff. So I just heard my husband like gasp, and then I saw him getting taken out of the ring, but I didn't see it happen. And I went out of my way to not see it happen because Big E is one of my favorite wrestlers, and I did not want to see him break his neck because it was already really, really hard. And the fact that I was just watching WrestleMania having fun and I had to see that and then I had to keep seeing it really upset me because it's still really fresh. Somebody like tweeted at me and was like, they show Austin breaking his neck all the time. It's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, that happened 20 years ago. Yeah. And he's out of the hospital and he's wrestling at this WrestleMania. So shut up. It's different. Like, that's different.
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 1990. No, that was 97.
I don't know. Nobody's going to come at us.
SummerSlam. This is a conversation with myself now. It was SummerSlam 97. Okay. Yes. Yeah. From 1997. Yeah, you're right. Like, it's a big difference between showing this thing from 20, 25, 30 years ago versus this thing that just happened 3 weeks ago.
When the person is still in a neck brace.
Right. Still in a neck brace and still communicating updates on his status and the prognosis and whether he's going to walk again and whether he's going to do this. And I have no problem with them incorporating it into the storyline. I do have a problem with them showing it. You can just tell me what happened.
Yeah, we know what happened.
We all know. You can just be like, hey, and then we all know what happened at Big E, and
the reason they're wearing these singlets is because he can't be here. Like, that's fine.
You don't have to show it during the pre-show. You don't have to show it during the match.
They showed it so many times.
Yes, and it's just it makes the match itself more of a disrespect.
Yeah,
the entire thing. And if excuse me, if there's one thing that definitely bogs down night 2. This was it for me.
Yeah.
Like, this was the thing where I was like, well, this wasn't on night 1. There was nothing like this on night 1.
Yeah.
Not even just the Big E part of it, but just here's this big match that we've been telling you was such a big deal with the match that we crowned. We did this because WWE doesn't ask us when they decide who's the best of all time with these things. This is a list they create for their own edification. The team that we said is the best team of all time, all right, they're going to get destroyed in about 5 minutes.
Not even. The match was like 1:40.
That's unfortunate. So they're going to get destroyed in less than 2 minutes. The greatest tag team of all time gets destroyed in less than 2 minutes by a team that was just cobbled together because they all look like they belong in a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, by a team that's like cosplaying Gangs of New York. Like, exactly. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And I like Sheamus alone. I love Pete Dunne, Butch, whatever. Like, Butch. But this is dumb. The Public Enemies podcast had a funny tweet that they were like, they have Butch out here look like Scrappy Doo. I was like, oh my God, that is the most accurate description of what just happened.
And I also didn't like, and this is and some people are like, oh, you're being sensitive. Yes, I am about this. I did not like Butch gnawing at Xavier's braids. I don't like it. I don't like when Black people things are made to be fetishes for other people. I don't. You gnawing at a Black man's braids, or a Black woman's braids for that matter, everyone fucking with Bianca, is not cool.
But at least with the Bianca thing, like she
uses it as a weapon.
If you touch my hair, I'm going to leave a bruise on your body that will last for weeks. So at least she has recompense for that, right?
Exactly. Like, whereas Xavier's just knocked out and you're just, and Butch is trying to pull out his cornrows.
Yeah, that's stupid.
No, let's not do that. I mean, they don't even do that. I mean, outside of Randy Orton, no one even does that with earrings.
Yeah, Randy Orton's in a league of his own.
Yeah, that's still the nastiest thing.
That was pretty gnarly.
Oh my God. Okay, let's move on because now I just.
Yeah, it all sucks. Okay, so the next match was Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory, which was super fun because Michael Cole was just having the time of his life, and Byron Saxton, aka the mom friend, kept having to be like, okay, Michael, I know that he's your friend, but our boss is right there, and I am concerned about your job, and I need you to bring it down a notch. Like, I'm just here to make sure you have a job at the end of the day. Like that, if that is all that had happened, fun, right? Austin Theory get his butt kicked by McAfee in a sparkly tank top. Like, that was fun. It was a fun match.
Tank top, wearing these 11s, these Jordan 11s that I love.
Yeah,
Pat was decked out. Yes.
Well, see, Pat did a good job of being like, this is my wrestling gear. This is comfy, like whatever, but this is also still gear. Like that was great. I really like that. So that was fun in and of itself. But then McAfee wins, celebrates. Michael Cole is going crazy in commentary. Byron is like, Michael, sit down. And then
your boss is here.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I loved Byron Saxton in this segment a lot. And then Vince teases taking off his coat. And then he takes off his coat. And then we get to see this 76-year-old man with his coat off. And we do a match that between McMahon and Pat McAfee that lasted twice as long as the New Day match. Just so you know. So McAfee has to be like, oh, do I fight this man because he's my boss? But also like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then like, I'm also really rich, so I like really don't actually need his money. And so we get this like classic nostalgia pop, like it's McMahon, whatever. If that had been where it just went, it's like, okay. But then we all kind of, because McMahon, with the help of Austin Theory, defeats Pat McAfee. But then they're just kind of standing in the ring, and everybody's like, wait a minute. You know who's at this WrestleMania?
The real Austin. Yeah.
The real Austin. We had some Gable versus Gable action, and now we're going to have some Austin versus Austin action because Stone Cold's music hits. Definitely a moment where Austin Theory's music hit, and McMahon doesn't know Austin Theory's music. And he like, did the look, and then we were like, oh, Austin is definitely coming.
Right, because Vince missed his mark because he does not know Austin's music, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, I also don't know Austin's music.
Yeah, exactly.
I just love when Stone Cold's music hit. And then like the slow look on Vince McMahon's face that just read, I always knew this was how I was going to die.
He still sells that glass break better than anyone.
Yeah.
Where he does like the cartoon thing where his eyes go first and then his head goes. and he knows death is around the corner, just like, fuck.
Yeah. It was just And like the night before Kevin Owens Stone Cold, it was really fun. But Stone Cold was like in a match, right? So he had to be like serious Stone Cold. I'm kicking ass, taking names, whatever. Stone Cold just walked out with a big ass smile on his face and is like, this is the most fun I've had in literally 20 years. Let's go. And it was just like I said, the person who had the most fun this weekend was Stone Cold, and then it was Michael Cole, because also Michael Cole was just going nuts on commentary.
He cheered for Austin like Austin was his dad coming to beat everybody up at the playground, or his big brother.
McMahon beat up my friend.
Yeah, like I love when Vince.
Michael Cole was like, when Vince and so obviously Stone Cold comes out, stuns Austin Theory, who sells the stunner like a cartoon. Truly, like the height he got on it was ridiculous. And then McMahon and Stone Cold is like, oh, we're going to have a beer, right? And McMahon's a fool, so he falls for it. Michael Cole, even on commentary, is like, well, could they put their animosities aside?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, right, LOL, that's never going to happen. Then Vince McMahon sells not the worst stunner of all time, but the second worst stunner of all time, because nobody's going to sell worse than Linda McMahon.
Yeah, Linda's is awful.
But also
almost as awful as the first time Vince sold one. Yeah.
You could see him trying to get back up, but his body was like, you are 76 years old. Like you will be staying down now. And he tried to do it with the like ring and like, you know, I don't want to ever give Vince McMahon props, but he tried to save it. He's just old.
He tried. Right.
He's very old.
Like we said on the podcast a lot, he did the best with what he had.
Yeah. It still was fun because we all could be like, billionaires don't know how to sell a stunner. That's a consistent thing. Like, it's just true. And once you have a certain amount of zeros in your bank account, you no longer know how to do a Stone Cold stunner.
Now you're done. Yeah. It's just, like it's no longer fun anymore when you can actually have a solid gold toilet. I get it.
So then that would have been fun on its own. But then McAfee gets in the ring and has his moment, which was really fun. And of course, he gets to get stunned, and he sold the best stunner.
Yes, and he loved every minute of it.
The plank with the beer, so good.
Yes,
and then him on the outside.
That's where I was going. Yes, he's on the outside of the ring, and he's supposed to be knocked out, but he's drinking beer.
That was a moment. I mean, there have been so many moments, but like that moment for sure was a moment where it's like, he just gets this business. He just gets it. Like that screenshot is my favorite screenshot of the weekend, outside of like Bianca holding the title. But like that was just stupendous. It was just silly and fun. And Stone Cold was having the time of his life. And Stone Cold like deserved all of that. And also it was nostalgia that like hit and was fun. And it still got McAfee over. Like Austin Theory got to have a big moment on WrestleMania. Like I don't like him, but like it didn't diminish him
on Monday. Yeah,
right. I mean, whatever. He's out here being Finn Balor every day. Like, Finn Balor lost 3 times in WrestleMania weekend.
Oh my god! And then he wasn't even on WrestleMania.
This man, they hate Finn Balor. I think they're just jealous of his abs, honestly.
I mean, that's got to be what it is. They're just like, oh, fuck him. I used to have abs like that. Beat him. That's Vince doing that. Yeah.
Okay, so the main event was obviously winner takes all for the WWE Championship, the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. It only lasted like 12 minutes. It was a fine match because they are just 2 dudes lobbing stuff on each other, but like
they're throwing bombs. That's it. Right. They're throwing bombs. Yeah.
It wasn't anything that we hadn't seen before. And then it did have like a pretty abrupt ending.
Pretty abrupt. That's being nice to it. Like it was the match. Again, if I'm going to use, theater and, just movie construct, it got out of Act 1.
Yeah.
Act 2 starts with the Kimura lock, and
the spear into the Kimura lock was very good.
That was fantastic. And then that's the start of Act 2 where Roman, it breaks and we're like, oh, okay. So Roman's hurt right now. Roman's yelling, it's out. And, and Paul's coming to him, come on, my tribal chief. I beg of you, my tribal chief, please, get it together, my tribal chief. And Brock is sitting there waiting to pounce. And then it's over.
Yeah.
Like Roman hits a spear and then that was it.
It's over in a way that we all were like, oh, this is a real injury.
Yeah. And there's rumors abound that both of them were hurt, that they both got hurt on the spear through the barricade spot.
You can see like Brock with his hand under like Roman at one point, like trying to do like SOS, like, hey, I am acknowledging that this is fucked up and we got to do something.
Yeah. Like I think they did the best with what they could. If that's the situation, and we already saw,
they
another match.
trotted the whole bloodline out at the end of Raw with like 3 minutes left for Roman to
Yes.
be like, "See you Friday."
That's basically what that was, and even then, because he's so good, and we still don't really have confirmation whether he's really hurt, he was still favoring that shoulder.
Yeah, they tried to put a belt on it, and like one of the Usos grabbed the belt and was like, "I got it, don't worry."
Yeah, and then when he tried to raise him both times, like he is wincing.
Yeah.
Like not like his normal little, I'm gonna raise the belt slowly because I'm the tribal chief.
Yeah, because I can do whatever I want.
Right. It is a visceral wince. Like that is a man who does not look comfortable raising that left arm. And yeah, like there's a thought that we had in our Slack that maybe this was just, hey, we're just gonna trot him out here, fill for time, give him a couple days, let's see what happens. And then, show up on Friday for the rest of it for his real remarks.
Feels like they kind of did that with Bianca, too. She comes out in her sunglasses, takes it off, and it's like, whoosh, shiner. And there was definitely a moment where I was like, is she about to drop this title? Is this broken? Like, I was like, it doesn't look broken. It just looks like a big messed up eye. But then Bianca basically was like, I'm the champ. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be fighting, send whoever you want, basically. So like, it was a good promo to give her time to heal and also maybe set up Asuka. She said some things that like maybe felt like Asuka. I don't know. I just want somebody to come back. I want something exciting.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Apparently Bailey slept through the entire show.
She's sleepy. It's busy being
tired.
Bailey.
Yeah, she's tired. Yeah.
But like, this also was definitely a moment of like, is he about to drop these titles? It's like, okay, no, we're just promos to let some people heal and also maybe get some test results back to be like, okay, if this is an injury, because if it's just a couple weeks, we can hold off him wrestling for a couple weeks. If it's several months,
we got moves to make, and we have decisions to make, and it's, again, it was nothing you didn't know from Roman. It was nothing we didn't hear. Like you said about the match itself, it's nothing we haven't seen between these two. Like I wrote this that it was basically Goliath versus Goliath. These two are built up so much that they can't have a quote unquote wrestling match.
Right.
It has to be nothing but suplexes, Superman punches, suplexes, Superman punches, spears, F5s. Like it's going to be a spam fest. Yes. Like it's going to be a big move spam fest. And I know some people don't like that. I have my issues with that just from a storytelling standpoint because it becomes monotonous. But again,
I think it's fine with them.
That's where I'm going.
And had they been able to tell the whole story, because like I think even though it's rumor, I think we can all use our brain and be like, that match was cut short. Like it felt like it was cut short.
Right. Yeah. Like
commentary was confused. Everybody was confused. That match was cut short. So had they been able to tell the whole thing, I think they could have told a good story. Sorry, I mean,
I agree. No, you're right. You're fine. I completely agree. We would have gotten there. It's unfortunate for both of them because they're both professionals and I know they both take pride in this, that they didn't get to finish it, but good on both of them for recognizing or acknowledging that, okay, one of us is hurt or both of us is hurt. We need to wrap this up.
Right.
Rather than trying to work hurt and then
get real
the worst happening. Yeah. Like we already saw the worst happen with Boogs. Like we didn't need another one of those over the weekend. So, again, unfortunate, but glad everyone got out. Glad everyone's safe. Hopefully Roman's fine. Hopefully Brock is fine.
Yeah.
Because he was, now I don't know whether he was working or whether but he was clearly holding his ribs during most of the match. Like he was holding his, and Brock doesn't normally sell like that.
Yeah, that's not his thing.
Level. No, like he'll definitely sell for you, but he's not I'm going to hold my ribs while I'm walking around the ring.
Yeah, he's not going to like work an injury as like a selling part of the match. Like that's not his style.
So both of them are probably fucked up. That's the bottom line of this. And hopefully they're okay eventually.
Yeah. I don't know. WrestleMania 38 overall, the highs were so high and it was also consistent in a way that I feel like a Mania hasn't been in years. That even the couple lows couldn't really diminish it. It was fun as hell.
No, it was a fun time. It was a fun weekend. I mean, despite all the the complaining we did about the work we had to do, it was a fun. I
had fun this weekend actually. Yeah, I was like, I'm working harder than I have in the past WrestleManias, but because I'm having a good time actually.
It's right, exactly. It was like, well, I want to do this. This is fun. This is only my second This is my second WrestleMania with the crew, like doing that, and I enjoyed this a lot more than last year.
Yeah,
like a
well, last
whole
year
lot
was,
more. Even though there was more to do, but I was like, no, this is fun, man. This is just a consistent show,
it's
and
nice when wrestling is fun.
it is. And as Kyle pointed out, this is the moment of the year when WWE reminds everyone, oh yeah, we're still a good wrestling company.
Yeah. Yeah, like a friend of Cage Side, Bill Hancock, even said, like, even when WrestleMania sucks, WrestleMania rules. Like, it's WrestleMania, and that's true. And the Raw after WrestleMania was not that great. It was a fine Raw, but like there are a couple things that were interesting. Like we kind of touched on some of them. The Ezekiel thing is shockingly very funny.
Bonkers.
It's
and hilarious.
Very funny.
Yes.
And Elias gets stuff over like that. So I'm sorry, Ezekiel, Elias's younger brother.
Elias's younger brother.
Stuff over like that. So I'm very curious to see where it goes. And I loved Kevin being like, "Who are you?"
Okay, so that's your thing. I'm going to talk about Cody real quick.
Oh, I was just waiting. We got to end the show with a Cody Rhodes dunk. It's my favorite thing.
Cody opened the show. I'm going to give him props before we dunk on him. So one, any story about Dusty is always going to work for me.
Right.
And him telling that very heartfelt story of him as a kid, looking at that picture of Dusty at the Garden holding up the championship belt, and having this conversation with his dad where dad explained to him, oh no, I actually didn't get the belt because of the championship advantage. It was a disqualification. And using that as his motivation to come back to WWE, I thought that was great.
Like, that's perfect. Because Cody fits. He just felt like he fits in WWE. Like in AEW, even though that was a company that was born out of his brain, like he still came up in WWE. So like he's some of the people that left WWE to go to AEW, most of them didn't come up in WWE. But a person like Zack Ryder and a person like Cody Rhodes is always going to feel like a WWE wrestler no matter where they go. And so having Cody come back, whether, however you feel about him, love him or hate him, it just did feel like, oh, you do feel like you belong here.
He needs a big stage. And WWE is the biggest stage. Like I commented on it, like, oh, this is the first time I can actually hear all the lyrics to his theme song, because it's just, it's a bigger arena, it's a bigger sound system, everything is bigger, and the crowd, because it's a bigger crowd, the noise doesn't funnel as much.
And that crowd is into Cody Rhodes.
Yes, they all love him. They all love him, and that's a testament to Cody.
You deserve it, Chance. Thank you, Cody. Chance. Welcome back, Chance. Like,
I could do without the prodigal son bullshit, because but that's a WWE.
That's not what that means.
That's not what it means at all. Like you fired him.
Yeah.
And then he came back. He didn't just leave.
Right.
He didn't decide, no, Dad, I'm out. No, you told him, bye-bye, take your shit and go. And he said,
here's your trash bag, leave now.
Here's your trash bag with your name written on it. Go. He started his own company. So he's not the prodigal son, but we get it. This is WWE. This is how they have to frame everything. They are the good guys. Everyone else is the bad guys. Fine.
Well, also it's clear that they just let him go too. Like that was a Cody Rhodes rambling promo, and it was a good promo, but that was clearly like not a Rin promo. And also I just have to, because we're kind of giving him props, and even if he becomes the best wrestler in the world that he thinks he is, I'm always going to dunk on him because it's fun. But like he was pushing those tears and pushing that emotion like a freshman at a drama showcase, being like, no, I do belong.
There was that, and also, of course, he had to mention Liberty, and I was like, there it is. There's the Liberty mention.
I just gotta say, as a white lady, I love Black Twitter's response to Cody Rhodes so much. All of the memes were very good.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Right. That sounds right.
Very good. A+.
That sounds right. I didn't see them because I was too busy writing. So you have to send me some of those.
I will. There are a couple threads that I will send you, and I was just like, I'm just a casual observer, being like, this is very good.
The last thing I'll touch on Cody, he's still doing the Homelander thing.
Ironically, but you know what? Villains don't think that they're villains, so
they don't. It's good for him. Good for him.
Homelander thinks he's the good guy.
He does. Yeah, he does.
It is truly him as like a Homelander-esque, like, I still think I'm the good guy vibe. And then Seth Rollins truly as a one of out of Batman's rogues gallery, frankly, like a cartoon villain. Like this feud does have a real comic book vibe to it that I am here for.
And I guarantee you that is a Cody thing because he is a comic book nerd. I guarantee you that is a him thing. That's definitely not a Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon thing. If it even hits that angle, like that is all Cody.
It just feels like it. I don't think that they're ever going to push it to be like actually comic booky. But as like a comic book reader, it just feels like a comic book feud in like in a way that works, frankly.
Yeah, even Seth coming out and giving him props after his promo. And welcome him back.
Just as waiting for him to start singing Ave Maria. Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
All right, that's it. Any closing thoughts about Mania? We'll be back later in the week at some point. I think our recording schedule is a little off this week because we want to get in SmackDown, but like
we TBD, have to. Roman told us to.
Yes, that's true. And hopefully we get to hear a ding dong because if I don't hear a ding dong this week, I'm gonna be so mad. I missed her so much.
Yeah, I miss her too. Wake up, Bailey. Thank you.
Wake up, Bailey. Any closing thoughts about the weekend?
It was a good weekend. It was a fun weekend.
Yeah.
Again, I say this all the time, props to all the ladies and gentlemen involved. You all really showed out. Props to the New Day for being just the best and willing to do whatever, no matter how bad they look. Like they're team players when they don't have to be at this point. And, props to them for that. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything. It was fun. Like that's why it was just fun, man.
It was just fun.
I was smiling all weekend.
Yeah, agreed. All right. So we'll be back later at some time. But in the meantime, you can email. Oh, I don't have our script up.
You can email us at CagesideSocials.com. You can check us out at CagesideSeats.com. We're going to continue talking about all this wrestling post WrestleMania week.
Too early in the morning for me. You take this whole outro out. You take it. Go, Marcus. I just hit my computer.
So email us at CagesideSocials.com. Also comment on this post comment in the episode post for this because I'm pretty sure there's something we didn't talk about. I know there's a moment. I'm sure there's a moment. Someone's like, well, you didn't talk about that. I'm sure there isn't. Fine. If you want to talk to us about it, we did a great job. I'm trying to be magnanimous to the people. And if you have any questions, comments, and also send us your WrestleMania things, like what did you think of the show? What did you think of the greatest Jackass episode ever? How did you feel about?
How many times did you cry?
Right. How many times did you look at Cody and say, that's bullshit? Like just give us your thoughts. So send all those. CagesideSocials.com. Follow us at CagesideSeats.com. Follow us on Twitter, where Stella does a fantastic job every single day.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I did a good job this weekend. I'm giving myself props.
You did a great job this weekend. And you had a great interview with Bianca, too.
Thank you. And you can follow us individually on Twitter. I'm at Stella_Cheeks if you want my hot takes about wrestling. And also, I'm having a lot of Star Trek feels right now, so hop over there.
Yes, and I'm at Abstract Poetic 3 with that E supposed to be. And I also am having a lot of Star Trek feels, but I'm not tweeting about them because I'm just not. But I also have Star Trek emotions.
We have big feels all the time.
Yes.
And we'll be back next time, whenever that is, with more snark and lots of big feels. Until next time.
The tapes are always rolling.
You know what? I'm not cutting any of that out. It's 7 in the morning and everybody can deal with the chaos.
And also, everyone else is coming home from WrestleMania and they feel the same way we feel right now. Just like, what day is it?
I'll get back to editing these cleanly next week. But right now, this is also just WrestleMania feelings. Bye, nerds.
Peace, people.